So hello there. So you want to learn the violin? Okay, we can go ahead and start. So whether you've purchased a violin already or not, or rented one, that's perfectly fine. This video will give you a basic overview of what to expect in your first few lessons and to start you on your journey. So, violin and bow. Let's get started. Okay, so we have some basic information that we're going to have to learn to be able to do this, because we need to be able to read music, which is like learning a whole different language. So even more excitement than you had planned, possibly. So the violin has 4 strings. So G, D, A, and E, and we'll talk about what that means in just a minute. So, and then if you have this tucked under your chin here, where their little chin rest is, the furthest one to your shoulder will be G, D, A, and E. Okay? So, when you're holding the instrument, you want to, well, here's what the back is going to look like. You can use a little towel or a little sponge. They also make shoulder rests, but no need to fuss with that right now at any point. So I have a sweater and a collared dress on, so that really gives me plenty. Some people will take a little towel and go over so they have something on the top in case they get any irritation here. You're going to go in at an angle, so you don't want to do this. It's probably going to choke you. So it's the side of your chin right here, tucked into your shoulder. And actually, you should be able to hold it like that without your hands. There you go. A balancing act. Okay, so our fingers will put on the fingerboard in different places, and that's what's going to create the different pitches. So, and this technique, what we're plucking with our finger, is called pizzicato, and that's how we're actually going to start. So thumb right here at the end of the fingerboard. So this part right here is the fingerboard, because that's where we're going to do all of our fingering. So the end of here, we're going to tuck your finger, and then you'll just pluck lightly the strings with your index finger. Okay, so let's go over the parts. You know the fingerboard now. This is the bridge. It helps keep these strings up and off of the fingerboard, so it doesn't deaden the sound. Because once it touches something or something touches it, it deadens the sound. Now, once we push it all the way, the string all the way down, then it will ring. Okay, then we know this. Shoulder rest, chin rest. This is the tail piece. All of the strings will come down here and be attached inside here. And then these are little fine tuners, so we can help tune the pitch, because gradually the strings will stretch and the pitch will lower. Or a peg, these are pegs up here, those are for larger tuning. They could slip, and then we'd have to start over on our tuning. This is our scroll, and this is the body of the instrument. Okay, so we have that. So we're going to talk a little bit about reading music, so the G, D, A, and E make sense to you. Okay, so here we go. So you will read in treble clef. It's a higher pitched instrument. And that's how, and treble clef is for higher instruments. So we have a little clef symbol here. This is called a treble clef or a G clef. This second line is the G line. And that is important because it tells us how the notes are going to read on the staff, okay? So we know that's going to be G. Now, as we go up on the staff, we go forward in the alphabet. As we go down on the staff, we go backwards in the alphabet. And the pitch goes lower. You go up, pitch gets higher, down, pitch gets lower. So if we start down here, it's going to be E. This line is E, space is F. Line G, space A. Line B, space C. Line D, space E. Line F. Okay, so if we look at the spaces, can you see what that spells from the bottom up? The spaces spell the word face. So give me a big smile. Okay, and the lines actually spell an acronym. So every good boy does fine. And you can see that on the card here. And since this is a video, you're welcome to take screenshots of anything for you to remember. But then you can also stop, pause, rewind. You can replay it as much as you want. Once you have it, it should, from what I've been told, go into your journal. If you are a Take Lessons student. If not, you will just have to rewatch it. Okay, so there is that, okay? And then here is another example in a little different format. You have the spaces, F-A-C-E, and then the lines, every good boy does fine. But you can see a staff up here on how everything is from the bottom up. We only use A through G, so A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and then it repeats. So we have A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and then you can see how A starts over again, okay? Your lowest note is going to be one below here, so it's going to be that G, and it's going to have two ledger lines. These little lines are called ledger lines. So when we run out of our 5-line staff, each note gets its own little personalized staff to go with it. Okay? So there you go. And you'll forget these things. It's no big deal. It's the repetition that helps you remember. Okay, so there's that one. Okay. So here are your open strings for violin, G, D, A, E. And they are up here as well to help you, the letter names are up here to help you remember where they are on the staff. So the G has two ledger lines and the note head sits right below that. Okay, so we have that. Now we need to go over rhythm before we start playing as well. So the only thing that we're going to go over today is whole notes, half notes, quarter notes, eighth notes, okay? So in a pyramid, this is what it's going to look like. So we have a whole note. It's just an open circle. And then we have two half notes, which will equal a whole note. So it has the open circle, plus it has a stem. So that tells us it's a half note. Quarter notes look like a half note, except the note head is filled in. It's black. So those are quarter notes. It takes two quarter notes to equal a half note. Then we will go down to eighth notes, which we won't get today, but you'll get the idea of this pyramid. So it takes two eighth notes to equal a quarter note, and so on. So these look like a quarter note, except they have a bar or a flag. So you see this written in here. It can have one bar, or they can each have one flag. because we have other rhythms. So here's your eighth note. We can either have one bar or one flag, but it's still two note heads. 16th notes takes two of those to equal 1/8 note. And same thing, 2 bars, 2 flags, whichever. They normally use the bars once there's multiples, because you can see these flags are going to get quite confusing. Then we can go to 32nd notes. Again, 3 bars, 3 flags. 64th notes, 4 bars, 4 flags. Be a long time before you get to those, but you see the idea, and then the pyramid just builds out from there as you add those other rhythms in. Now, for each of those notes, there's an equivalent rest. So sound and silence are equally important. So here's what a whole rest would look like. Half rest, 2 halves equal a whole. 2 quarters equal a half. 2/8 equal a quarter. So same difference. Okay, so this is a little bit of information, but you can always go back and review. Take what you can remember to get started. Okay, and then also we have them separately. So here's a whole note, whole rest, half note, half rest, quarter note, quarter rest. Now for now, we are going to assume that a quarter note will equal 1 beat. Time signatures can change all of that, but we're not going to talk about time signatures today. That's getting into a lot more detail, okay? So we're going to assume a quarter note equals 1 beat. So what does that mean? What's a half note going to be? How many beats is a half note going to be? If a quarter is 1, I'm sure you're guessing this right, a half note is going to be 2 beats. And then a whole note is going to be 4 beats. Okay? That's all we need to know for today. Okay? And those equivalent rests. So we already talked about what string is what letter name. And you can see this right here, G, D, A, E. The lowest string, which will be your thickest string, to the highest string, which is the thinnest string. And here's how they will sit on the staff. Okay, so here's your highest string, the E, your A right there, D string right here, and G string right here. Okay, so the E is on the top space, as you already saw from the cards that I showed you. The A is the second space from the bottom. The D sits right below the staff, and the G is the one with the 2 ledger lines, that it sits right below the bottom ledger line. Okay, and then we're going to go here, which will be our first page, and it's just going to be some open strings, and you can see this word pizzicato on the open strings. Okay, and that's that plucking that I did. So it's formally called pizzicato. If you see it in music, it's normally going to say P-I-Z-Z. And you'll just pluck with your index finger, but you have to make sure your thumb is anchored in first. So we're going to go through some of these. So we have 4 quarter notes, each 1 beat, and then we have a whole note. They're giving us a little break, so don't cheat it. And that will give us that whole 4 beats, and it's showing the counting there as well. 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's also something about our counting. So here is a bar line, here is a measure. Bar line, measure. We have so many beats in each measure. We do not pause at the end of a measure It's strictly an organizational tool. So we want to keep track of each beat. That's why this is 1, this is 2, this is 3, this is 4. Okay? So this starts with E's, A's, D's, and G's. And then this exercise is the complete reverse. So here's what this is going to sound like. We can also play with the bow in a little bit. We'll talk about the bow in just a minute, okay? But I need a drink of water. Okay, so here's this exercise. So you can just let the last note ring into the rest. So if you couldn't tell, I'm thinking 1, 2, 3, 4, rest, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, rest, 2, 3, 4. And you can't see my foot, but my foot is tapping also to try to keep a nice even beat. We also have metronomes that can help with that, and you can get an app on your phone or your tablet, or find a website on your computer. Computers is even the best. And I can set different beats. 1, 2, 3, 4, just by the number I change here. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's a little bit faster. And the piece will tell us, most pieces of music will tell us how fast or slow to play something by a particular word. Andante is walking tempo, allegro is fast, vivo is very fast, largo is very slow. So it will give you a word. It could even give you a metronome marking. Say, okay, the quarter note gets the beat, so they'll put a quarter note with an equal sign, whatever number that they want. And then also, this one I really like because it has a metronome and a tuner together, and strings have to have a tuner because you need to tune your instrument. And your instructor can go over that with you. I'm certainly happy to be your instructor. If you want, you can go to my profile page, which should be highlighted on the video, if you're a Take Lessons student, and you can sign up for lessons that way. You can call Take Lessons and ask them as well. And there's also an Ask a Question feature in the upper left-hand portion of my profile, and you can ask whatever questions you want there as well. If you're not a Take Lessons student, then you will be able to message me through YouTube or whatever site that you're on, and just send me a message, and then I'm happy to help. Okay, so a tuner I'll just play the note, and it'll pick it up, and you want right in the middle with that green light, and that'll say that's in tune. And you can do that for all of your fingered notes as well. It's a chromatic tuner, so it will pick up every single note. Okay, so now we're going to go to this next exercise, which is just the reverse, but I'm going to actually bow this one for you, okay? So, here's your bow. what's really important about this is you don't touch the hair. Okay, so this is the hair. It can be synthetic or traditionally horsehair. No horse is harmed in making a bow. So it can be made of various different materials. It can be wood. It can be carbon fiber. It can be plastic. Sorry, a lot of them are plastic, which they like to call resinite. And you'll need to tighten. So here, mine is already tightened, so I'm going to loosen this. Every time you play, you want to loosen your bow. Okay? So there, you can see how it's nice and floppy and really, really close to the frame of the bow, the wooden part. Okay, so I'm going to play this. I need to go ahead and tighten it up. Okay, so you want still a bowing of this framework. If it's straight, you've over tightened it, or it has never really been loosened and the hair has stretched, and that's what you have to do to get it tight. Then you need to take it into the shop to have it rehaired, or if it's not rehairable, then you would need to purchase a new bow. Okay? So you need to use as much of the bow as possible. You will be reluctant to do so in the beginning. But, and you also need to bow straight across. So right here, between the fingerboard and the bridge, you'll need to bow right halfway there. Okay? If you get closer to the end of the fingerboard, that's fine. It'll just be softer. You don't want to be closer to the bridge or it'll be squeaky, and I'll let you know what that sounds like. So here, nice sound. A little softer. Then, oh, ouch. Yeah, that'll hurt the ears. So also, if you bow crooked and meander around the string, it'll be squeaky as well. Okay, so are all of our strings there. So this other exercise with the bowing, I'm going to put my hand right here since I'm not doing any fingering at the moment. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so there is that, and you heard my little screech from one note to the next. I actually dropped my elbow a little bit, and that allowed me to hit the next string. So your elbow is very important, whether you're doing pizzicato or bowing. And so you can see on my lowest string, my elbow is way up. And by the time I get there, my elbow is way dropped. So the positioning of the elbow is very important to make sure you're hitting and keeping that same string all the way throughout. Okay? So I'm hoping this helped you and get started with violin, or at least interested in going to purchase or rent one. Feel free to ask me any questions that you have. I certainly would love to help, and that's why I'm here. So have a wonderful rest of your day and weekend, and hopefully I will see you soon. Happy violining!